Hey guys, Andy here from Mediocre Hobbies coming at you with some Necromunda content. As you guys know, I don't generally dip my toe much into Necromunda. I did a bunch of Ash Waste stuff when that first came out, but since then I haven't really done a whole lot. And that's not because I do not have a fondness for Necromunda, it's just because there's too much stuff to cover on my channel and certain things have to unfortunately fall by the wayside. Now, with Necromunda Hive Secundus being released, that has obviously given me the opportunity to delve back into the world of Necromunda, the city of Necromunda, and try it out again on the channel to see whether there is much engagement or much interest. So if you would like to see more Necromunda content on the channel, I'm going to have to see high numbers on the videos and let me know that there's people out there interested in watching the series. So we're going to do a couple of videos for the Hive Secundus box set and see how that goes. If they do well, I'll of course delve in and do more videos. I would love to do more videos and there's so much stuff I would like to do for Necromunda. Let's delve into what Hive Secundus is. So the game is obviously Necromunda, but this particular part of the game is not set in Necromunda. Necromunda is a giant hive city. This is based in Hive Secundus, which is a ruined city on the planet that Necromunda is also situated on. It is a crazy, crazy place that is overrun with all sorts of horrors and monsters. But kind of most of all, on the pinnacle of those monsters is indeed quite a large and overgrown Genestealer cult, like quite large and substantial. Now, Hive Secundus is ringed by a huge fortress curtain wall, which may seem like it is there to defend the hive in better days, but if you pay close attention, you will know that this glorious wall, known as the Dust Wall, has its crenulations and weapons pointing in. Its purpose is to keep the monsters from Hive Secundus from getting out at the wider planet. So it's a pretty gnarly place to base any kind of game system in, especially a kind of small skirmish game like that. Who's going to want to delve into a city like that? Well, it's still full of riches and gems and all sorts of crazy archaeotech, so you will always have crazy techno hunters out there trying to find it. Okay, so what I'm going to do in today's video is I'm going to pick one of the awesome new Necromunda Genestealers, plus his little floating brood node thing, and I'm going to paint them up in today's video. I'm going to match them in with my Tyranid scheme because I think that'd be really cool, having my Tyranids fight across many different game systems. Obviously it's going to be on a Necromunda style base. And then yeah, you let me know what you think about it and what other bits and pieces you want to see from the new Necromunda built and painted up. Alright guys, without further ado, let's dive in and see how it goes. This is the epic Genestealers for Necromunda. They are so kind of bizarre. They're definitely a different design to the standard Tyranids. These guys obviously adapted to the horrible world that is, or horrible city that is Hive Secundus, and they're kind of a little bit disjointed. They're kind of a little bit like hunched over, a little bit more like the spines on its back don't seem very natural and kind of normal. What those spines are all about, I have no idea why they're there, but it definitely adds an extra sinister layer to these particular models. Okay, so I'm going to start with some Guilliman flesh and I'm going to apply this to the majority of the model. Realistically, we don't need to hit any of the carapace, but if we do hit any of the carapace, it's not a big deal, don't panic. So, Guilliman flesh. Now, a lot of people at this stage of watching the video will be like, why the hell is he painting Tyranids with a skin-colored paint? And I know it seems kind of strange to begin with, but I promise you it's going to look super alien and super interesting at the end. The skin tone that we pull off with this is really, really cool and really like gross and grim, and it kind of, you know, it's just, yeah, it's weird. You'll see at the end. But I definitely think it feels right for especially something like Hive Secundus. Remember, these Tyranids are feeding on nothing but the dregs of humanity, highly irradiated or highly toxic or it's bad. And basically people, the genetic material they're taking is of the lowest quality. So what kind of horrid skin tone will these Tyranids have? Well, I guess we'll wait and see. After that, we are going to get some Carrienberg Crimson and apply this all over the skin again. This is going to make it look kind of sore, really red, kind of like washed out almost. Really cool. It's something that I've been doing with all my Tyranids for quite a long time now, is the skin tone versus the red and then some pale dry brushes over the top of it. I've gotten kind of about 8,000 points of fully painted Tyranids in this scheme now. It's one of my largest fully painted armies that I have, and it's kind of cool looking, so I like it. Originally it based is on Ice Tyranids was the original thing, but I just wanted to blend these guys in with that army and this force. And having seen the final result, I have jumped ahead in time and I do know what he turns out like. I think it's really cool. Obviously, all of the steps that we are doing on the Genestealer are being done on the node as well. So if there's any stage I don't particularly show on the node, just know that whatever I did, it got copied over fairly simply. Ushapti bone is now going to be added to that skin. And what we're going to do is we're going to dry brush it. So we're going to do a light dry brush all over the body with that Ushapti bone. It's going to catch all those crazy angles, all those sharp bits. At this stage of painting, I had the spines in the skin color as well because I didn't know whether they were like natural skin tone, like skin things like bursting out of his carapace, or whether it was just like deformed carapace. In the end, I did decide to go for the deformed carapace, so it will turn blue in a moment. So if you're following along, just know you don't have to do the spines. So here's the first layer of dry brushing. Already the skin just looks kind of gross and awesome. I love it. We are going to push through and do another layer of dry brushing very lightly with Wraithbone, just to catch the sharpest edges of the skin and the raised areas. And this will add the kind of final layer to the skin. We are going to, of course, do like the swords in between. We're going to hit that with some Volupus Pink later on, just to overemphasize that. But this is the skin, and I think it looks so alien, and it looks really cool. Obviously, when we tidy everything up around it, it will stand out a little bit more. So what we're going to do is grab our Stegadon Scale Green base paint and apply this to all the carapace. Now, if you guys have been following along with my journey on Tyranids before, you will know that the majority of the Tyranids have a lot more carapace than a Genestealer does. You know, armored fronts and down their legs and up their arms. Genestealers don't have this. So the blue you do apply is going to be a lot less than on a standard Tyranid. If you do want to copy the scheme across your other ones, there's a whole playlist of Tyranids I have that you can of course copy on. I think I've even got about 7 or 8 other Tyranid schemes in that playlist. So if you're watching this video, this particular scheme isn't for you, but you still want to get your models painted up in my style, like I said, check out that playlist. There's a bunch of different videos in there for so many different schemes for Tyranids. Maybe one of those would be perfect for your Hive Secundus set. Obviously doing the node. Now the node looks like he has like a face hugger over the top of him, which is kind of grabbed a brain or something. It looks a little bit weird, but it's a cool extra piece. Altiac blue was then brought in to basically layer up over the Stegadon scale. So obviously you know that the Tyranid plates are like segmented. So as we layer up these, we want to leave the bits where the two plates connect nice and dark, and then the flat plate kind of pulling back. We want to hit with that Altiac blue, make it highlight and make it look really nice. It gets a little bit more complicated with those spines up his back, but we do figure it out. I basically highlight the front of them, as you can see, and then leave the back of them kind of dark. Once again, it's a very simple thing, but it adds a nice extra layer to the model. Now at this stage, I was dying to see what the model looked like in its kind of dark setting. So I think now I'm going to jump across and try and get some of the basing scheme done, because right now, that white base is like washing out the model. It's making it look too pale. And that can really like hurt your like visuals of a model. People often leave basing to the very end of painting a model, and I couldn't disagree with that more, because your brain is telling you that something is off and something isn't right, and if you don't realize it's base, suddenly you're hating the model you're painting, and that's just not fair. Whereas if you just simply even just block in the base, it's going to make such a huge difference. Like on the node, it doesn't make too much of a difference because he's on his flying stand, but on this guy here, like you see him, because he's got such that pinky pale skin, he does look so pale. It just doesn't really work right now. There's something wrong. But as soon as I get this Rhinox hide painted across his entire base, and as you'll see after this, I don't straight away go on to finishing the base. I just wanted to get the brown in there, and suddenly the model just looks so much better. Volupus Pink was then brought in for things like his tongue, and then all those sores we talked about, or all those like splits in the skin that you can see on a Tyranid model. As you can see, feeding it in there. Any like gaps in joints, you can do that in that color if you so wish. But once again, once you have pallid skin and then like the bright, like almost like toxic pink colors coming through the sides, it once again pushes him more into this like unnatural alien look. I want people to see these things scuttling across the board and get the heebie-jeebies. You're just like, oh god, that's not what you want to see down a sewer pipe when you're going for a stroll in your Hive City at night. Rise of Rust was then stippled over that Rhinox hide that we did on the base. If any of you guys haven't seen my rust technique, I've done it about 900 times on the channel so far. Rhinox hide base, stipple with Rise of Rust, dry brush lightly with silver. That's it. So that's all it takes to get fairly decent rust. It's what I do on all my Necromunda bases, so they'll all blend in together. They're all fighting around the same rusted up hulky planet. I was going to say the same Hive City, but that's not true now, is it? Hive Secundus is a very different place, and the Ash Waste is a very different place. But we'll make it work. Like I said, you don't need too much paint on the brush. You're just trying to leave a little bit behind. You want to see that strong brown tone showing through. And then after that, all you do is grab some lead belcher, your dry brush again, and give it a light dry brush over the top, just catching all those sharp edges. Like this is a deck plate, a rusted deck plate. People are going to be stomping across it constantly, so it is going to get chipped and worn and reveal some of that original silver color back through. And then after this, I didn't show the next step, but it's quite simple. You just rimmed the base black, tidied it up a little bit, and I obviously did the flying stand for the node, that same color as well. We're in the kind of final stretch of this model. I'm really liking how he's turning out. Doombull Brown is a secret weapon for painting my Tyranids. It's not going to make a huge difference on this particular model, but if you know my Tyranids, you'll know how important it is to me. So I watered down Doombull Brown to a very watery consistency, and I applied this in between all of the segmented plates on a Tyranid miniature. This is always going to get a big thank you to the Golden Chin. If you don't know who the Golden Chin is, he is a good friend of mine. He has a nice Instagram account, Golden Chin. Check him out. But I basically brought my first tester of Tyranids to him and was like, something's not right. I don't like this. Like, it's just not working. And then all he did was grab some Doombull Brown, watered down, painted into the gaps in the plates, and suddenly the scheme just worked, popped, it looked great. So it's all his fault. So a big thank you to him. I grabbed some Imperial Fist yellow contrast, painted it into the eyes, and then took some photos because that is a finished, gnarly Hive Secundus Genestealer. I really like how he turned out. I think he looks really cool. I think he looks very menacing, very scary. Something literally straight out of a nightmare. And yeah, I couldn't be happier. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. I do need to get some support back to push me to make more Necromunda videos. So do make sure that you like, comment, and subscribe, guys. Alright guys, we have our finished miniatures, our first new Necromunda miniatures for Hive Secundus. Very cool pieces. It shouldn't take me long to get the Genestealer cult side of this box set painted up. And then of course we will delve onto the other side, which is a little bit more complicated, but still quite a lot of fun. Okay guys, if you enjoyed this video, make sure you do the standard normal things that you should do if you enjoy creators, which is like, comment, and subscribe on their videos. Costs you nothing, takes 2 seconds out of your day, but it does mean the world to us. It helps us to grow bigger and stronger. If you want to help me even further, there's links down below to things like my Patreon, get extra content over there. And if you're thinking about picking up any Necromunda stuff or whatever you decide to pick up, check out some of my affiliate links like Element Games down below. If you click on that link, buy stuff from them, it'll cost you not a cent more. In fact, usually you save quite a bit of money using Element Games, and I get a nice little kickback. So just a few easy ways to help support the channel. Okay guys, thank you so much for sticking around at the end of the video. I'll see you in the next one.